323232.
Authorities in central Illinois say the driver of a car that rammed through an after-school building in the town of Chatham may have had a medical emergency and was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly detailing the early results of the samples.
At this time, we can report initial preliminary toxicology test results were negative for alcohol and negative for controlled substances.
3 children and a teen were killed. No decision has been made on whether charges will be filed. May 1st, known as May Day in the U.S. to mark International Workers' Day, focusing on immigrant workers. And because of the current administration's policies, large marches and rallies are being held around the country.
On the streets!
In the streets of L.A., thousands of people marched, many taking part to protest the Trump administration's policies impacting immigrants and their families. This man in the crowd sang,
"People are seeing that democracy is under attack, and I think that's really creating an urgency for folks to actually show up."
Back in 2006, May Day rallies shifted from honoring workers to being more focused on immigration. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In New York City, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has rejected a last-minute deal from the government to enter a guilty plea to avoid a long prison sentence in his trial on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Jury selection sets to begin on Monday. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Quiet down. Here she comes.
Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
4:05 now on this sunny Thursday afternoon, and with your KVNU News headlines, I'm Will Feeley. Well, a judge right now is considering whether to fine the Utah High School Activities Association in contempt of court for abiding by an executive order issued by President Donald Trump in contradiction of an injunction issued over transgender student athletes in Utah. Now, the UHSAA, which oversees high school sports for public schools in the state, is under an injunction issued by 3rd District Court Judge Keith Kelly back in 2022 in a lawsuit over Utah's ban on transgender athletes participating in school sports consistent with their gender identity. Now, the injunction blocks the ban from being enforced, but earlier this year, President Trump issued an executive order banning transgender girls from playing school sports matching their identity. Now, Judge Kelly told lawyers yesterday that we're in the middle of a rapidly evolving situation and that there is an executive order in place and he needs to understand and apply the law. Now, lawyers for a student athlete who is part of the lawsuit against the UHSAA and the Jordan and Granite school districts had asked the judge yesterday for sanctions against them, while the Utah Attorney General's office representing the UHSAA and the districts argued that the president's executive order effectively has the force of federal law. Judge Kelly acknowledged that it's a tricky situation as he navigates whether the High School Athletics Association violated the injunction in the face of a presidential executive order. He issued no ruling yesterday, but agreed to take supplemental briefings over the next month before rendering a decision. Meanwhile, a new state law taking effect July 1st will raise the distance requirement for some Utah students to qualify for school bus transportation, prompting concern among parents about student safety. House Bill 161 increases the qualifying distance for 6th graders to 2 miles if their school is classified as an intermediate or middle school. Now, this change will notably impact students throughout the state. Previously, students in grades K through 6 were eligible for busing if they lived 1.5 miles or more from school. Kindergarten through 5th will still follow those guidelines, but students in grades 6 through 12th will now be eligible only if they live 2 or more miles away from school. Now, House Bill 161 does leave space, though, for school boards to expand their bus routes by using general school district funds. And the elderly man who hit and killed a 9-year-old boy in Pleasant Grove earlier this week apparently may not have entirely been aware of what happened. Officers with the Pleasant Grove Police Department are trying to figure out how to move forward in the case. Captain Britt Smith said that they're trying to determine whether or not he intentionally left the scene of the accident or even knew that he had been involved in the fatal crash to begin with. Meanwhile, a family friend of the Gibbs family, Maureen Ingalls, remembered Dalton Gibbs as being a shining light in the neighborhood. Now, according to police, the man was turning right on 900 West onto 2600 North in his four-door Chevy pickup truck when he hit Dalton in the crosswalk on his bike. He said the police department is not naming the driver yet because charges have not been filed. Well, it's been a gorgeous afternoon, and it's going to stay this way the next couple of days. As we've had temperatures in the mid-60s today, tonight will drop into the low 40s, and then sunny skies expected for tomorrow and Saturday, with temperatures gradually warming up to about 76 as we start out the weekend. Then we'll see a chance of some showers coming in Sunday and Monday. News and weather this hour brought to you by The Lawn Doctor, helping you to win the weed battle in your yard. Give them a call to apply a pre-emergent or weed control. 753-LAWN at 753-LAWN for The Lawn Doctor. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News Update.
Hi, I'm Wendy, co-founder of Bell Sculpt. I know what it's like to feel uncomfortable in your own skin, worrying about how you look, feeling drained, and just not like yourself. Hormone changes, pregnancy, or aging can lead to weight gain and challenges that aren't your fault. That's why I believe so strongly in what we do at Bell Sculpt. I've had a procedure myself, and it transformed more than just my shape. It boosted my energy, metabolism, and confidence. If you're ready to feel like yourself again, Bell Sculpt is here to help. Book your free consultation at bellsculpt.fm.
Sean Hannity from 1 till 4 on News Talk KVNU 102 FM and 610 AM.
Cash Equipment in Hyde Park has been serving the farmers, ranchers, contractors, even homeowners for years. And now they've got a new name, Black Cliffs Equipment. Different name, but the same trusted team. Same top quality Kubota and Massey Ferguson tractors and equipment. And the same commitment to service to keep you moving forward. Whether you're plowing fields, hauling hay, or breaking ground on something big, Black Cliffs Equipment is here for you. Located in Hyde Park and online at blackcliffsequipment.com.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Thursday, May 1st, May Day, as it's known. We'll talk about that later on. 66 degrees here right now at the Radio Ranch at 4:11 in the afternoon. Very sunny and nice outside. Some spots of clouds and potential showers over the next few days, but otherwise, yeah, spring is playing out pretty well here in northern Utah. Kicking off the show today with the For the People Theater Hour, and Charlie Schill joining us here in the studio. And I was just telling Charlie that I already miss the USU students and some of their productions this year, knowing that we'll have to wait until October-ish before we have a chance for anything else from them. And that made me realize that this was, I think I said this last year too, but this was a really good year for the King College of the Arts when it comes to theater.
Yeah, that's true. They did absolutely true.
Some pretty good shows and a big block of talent. Unfortunately, a handful of them graduated now.
Well, 4 did. Ryan Adams, Ethan Shaw, Mia Gaithram, and Marin Robinson. And
I'm going to miss Marin.
But they're going to be in the lineup for the Lyric Theater this summer. So
yeah,
you won't.
Still a chance to see their talent on display.
I don't think I'm not sure. We need to check that, but I'm not sure about Ryan and Ethan. But Mian and Marin are definitely going to be in those shows. So
it's kind of nice for students to be able to transition after graduation right into the Lyric.
Well, that's the whole point of the Lyric is to give some of their students, the top performers, the ability to get some professional experience during their time at the university, and they bring in people from who are equity actors generally to perform with them, to give them an opportunity to interact with those people and learn from them. And it's a great idea.
I think so too. It's a creative way for them to kind of transition into, if not doing this professionally, at least staying connected to this world of stage and theater. And this year especially an opportunity for them because the Lyric is just one after another from the start of June to mid-July. Four different shows, not including the Vasco Call Spotlight and the Return of Christmas in Montpelier. And you talked about this as well, tours with Richie that they're doing for a week.
Mm-hmm. And the page to stage opportunities that are 10 o'clock each day during the first week in June.
That is, I got to remind myself, I have some tickets to one of those. I'm worried about forgetting it because I planned ahead so much on that one. But this is the Lyric is definitely doing their job to fill some space and put some butts in seats through June and July.
That's the big thing that's coming up. That's coming our way. There's those two dance shows that we talked about last week by the Valley Dance Ensemble.
Oh, yeah.
Friday and Saturday of this week. The following week, the Civic Ballet is doing a show at the Eccles. And that's going to be interesting because it's not strictly ballet. They're going to do a wide variety of dance styles. There will be ballet, of course, and jazz and lyrical and contemporary and modern and character and you name it, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So that should be a good show.
That's, I think, we've talked about this before, but the something for everyone aspect of all of these theaters in downtown Logan and up on campus and really at any given time, especially right now, starting right now and going through to September, there's literally every week there's something that someone that some group out there is going to really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're going to have Gavin Sim and maybe Wendy Hassan come in next week and give us the lowdown on their next touring season. But I got the information, previously, but I'm sworn to secrecy. Double. You have to cut your throat if you break the vow of silence.
Yeah,
it's omerta. But one thing I can tell you is that the next touring season is going to kick off in early August and continue to hit really heavy in August and September.
Yeah.
So they're going to have an opportunity. They will also have an opportunity to interact with the Summer Citizens audience.
That's right.
Yeah, because they hang around till late August, early September.
Yeah.
Because things are still as hot as hell in Arizona.
They don't want to go back until the nighttime temperature gets below 90.
Start to cool off. That's right.
That's what people forget that, but that's what gets you in Arizona and Texas. It's the daytime temperature. Most people, especially if they live there, have acclimated and can handle. It's the nighttime temperature that really kicks you in the stomach.
Don't talk about Texas. Arizona, it's that dry heat.
Yeah.
So it's 125, and you walk outside and your sweat evaporates. But
Texas, it's like
Texas has got 90% humidity.
Like someone's following you around with a hose.
Temperature, yes.
They're spraying you with near boiling water all day long.
There's way too much humidity in Texas.
I remember the first time I walked out, the first time I'd ever been in Texas, and I remember the first step out the automatic doors of the airport into the outside.
Oof.
And it was like a wall. It was you felt like you were walking through something solid. Walking into that air, and,
it takes a while to get used to it.
Yeah, and living here where it's dry, even when it's hot, it's dry.
I spent 38 glorious months at Fort Hood, Texas.
Oh wow!
Believe me.
Oh, the most humid part of the state.
Yes, absolutely.
That is. I'll bet though, back to theater. I'll bet that gets people into air-conditioned theaters.
Well, that's for sure.
I would any excuse to go sit in a nice, cool, air-conditioned theater. I'll see anything. This is you're listening to the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio, and we do have a lot to talk about. We talked a bit about Lyric there, and just to let everybody know, starting in June. They fire things off with Bright Star and Sherlock Holmes, The Final Adventure, and Hello, I'm Home, I'm Darling, by Laura Wade, The Importance of Being Earnest. They also have a launch party early June, the Page to Stage events, the Vasco Call Spotlight later on in the summer, July 7th, and Christmas in Montpelier, the end of July and into early August. And then throughout the summer, there are 3 opportunities to join Richie Call for a tour. This is a summer citizens-oriented program, but it's open to everyone. They'll tour working spaces behind the theater and more, actually, as part of these tours. And they're $10, and they start at the Morgan Theater lobby on campus. So pretty cool opportunities this summer from the Lyric Theater. And you can get tickets, read more at usu.edu/lyricrep for Lyric Repertory Company. usu.edu/lyricrep, and we'll be back with more of the For the People Theater Hour and Charlie Schill here in the studio right after this.
Hola, Cache Valley. Get ready to spice up your weekend at Cache Valley's annual Cinco de Mayo celebration. This year, it's Saturday, May 3rd from noon until 8 p.m. at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Come experience the rhythm of live mariachi bands, the colorful twirls of traditional Mexican folk dancers, and the melody of talented singers that will light up the stage. Craving authentic flavors? Delight in mouth-watering dishes from local favorites, plus incredible Mexican treats. This year's Cinco de Mayo celebration is presented by Members First Credit Union. Large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the service you deserve. Presto Products, now hiring. Apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. And Didi Auto and Salvage. Didi Auto Salvage gives you the most money for your old metal. Bring the whole family. You'll find bounce houses, climbing walls, a mechanical bull, and traditional Mexican piñatas. Admission is free and everyone is welcome. Cache Valley Cinco de Mayo celebration, Saturday, May 3rd from noon until 8 to the Cache County Fairground.
Nestled in Cache Valley, Connect Transit is bringing people together one ride at a time. Here comes Caroline, ready to crush that big meeting. Mm-hmm. And there's Diego, off to see his nieces and nephews. George is in his jersey. Must be game time. Woo! Go Aggies. Wherever you need to go, we're going your way. Connect Transit. Visit rideconnectutah.gov to find your ride today.
In our rural communities, EMS volunteers stand ready to help every day. Volunteers are ordinary people performing extraordinary acts. Many of these heroes lack access to essential health insurance for themselves and their families. It's time to give back. Utah has a new program that offers no-cost medical, dental, life, and long-term disability insurance to our rural EMS volunteers. Families may also be eligible for low-cost options. Become a licensed EMT, AEMT, or paramedic, and you and your family may be eligible. eligible. Visit utahcounties.org to learn more. That's utahcounties.org.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. We have a lot to talk about, so we're jumping right back in. Kick things off, just kind of running through a little bit of the basics of the Lyric Repertory Company season. And I mentioned to Charlie during the break, I just noticed that some of these shows overlap, and they can't have an entirely separate cast for each show. And
that's what Rep is all about.
That is so cool. That is it. That would be tough, I think, for schedule-wise and for an actor. And I wonder if they've ever had issues where someone forgets which show am I in right now?
I've been watching these shows for years, and I have never seen
You've never seen a mess up like that? I think it'd be a challenge for me. I would have to know. I think once you get into it, it's if you're good at what you do, it's probably fun for them to have an excuse to bounce around like that.
The costume helps, that helps you get into character. And, once you're in the character, you're not doing, Raisin in the Sun when you're doing a comedy from Noel Coward. So
yeah, that's, I'm looking forward to, Laura Wade's, Home I'm Darling. And I think about this every time. I'm really surprised no one's turned this into a movie. This seems like a no-brainer for a decent moneymaker as a Hollywood production with two famous, actors in it. Any two would work, really, and it's kind of a timeless theme. But yeah, that every time I've only seen that once before, but every time I hear about it or read about it or see a clip somewhere, I'm always surprised no one has done that. It's movie ready, but it's fun to see on stage.
Also, we're kind of counting out the Festival Opera here.
Yeah,
but they're not being staying dark this whole season. Starting on the 17th of May. They're launching a kids show, Elephant and Piggy's We Are in a Play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's right. Michael talked to us about this.
The show is going to start, and this is an odd thing. Because it's a kids show, it runs about an hour, so it's in and out quick. Hold it while the kids are still holding their attention span.
Yeah.
The first show is on the 17th. That's at 1 p.m. That's a Saturday. And then the following Saturday, again, they're going to perform it at 1 p.m. The following Monday on the 26th of May, again, that's a 1 p.m. showing.
Yeah.
Then on the 29th and the 30th, and the 31st, then you're going to have evening shows, 7:30 p.m. each night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is based on a guy named Mo Williams. Apparently, this is a well-known children's book series They've got educational packets to go with it that have been distributed to the schools. I suspect there are going to be school children trucked in to see those performances, those afternoon performances.
Yeah, that would be, and that's cheap too. It's $5 for a ticket. They're also doing. If we had a question about this, and I'd forgotten until you mentioned Utah Festival Opera not being entirely out of the picture this summer, but they're also doing the Les Miserables School Edition. Basically, for listeners who don't know, this is the award winners of high school competitions. These are the kids that excelled and got some recognition for it, and then they take them all and they put them in a kind of a very truncated version of the famous Les Miserables Broadway play. And it's really good, and it's impressive to see young people with this much talent. But they are doing a lot of shows, basically from July 12th to the 26th. And I don't know if you know the answer, Charlie. I forgot to reach out and ask myself, but a listener asked if this is a rotating cast of students or if it's the same students doing all of these shows from July 12th to the 26th at the Utah Theater.
Yeah.
It's the same group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have seen some of our locals. These would be kids from here all the way down to Draper and that sort of thing. But I think of come on. But we've seen people. They've done this in previous years. We saw them. You remember the cast of the Rebels in Les Mis who do the street barricade and all this. The entire group of them were female actors.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so these people get assigned, and they don't have a lot of time to prepare this show. But it's familiar to most of them.
Sure.
So, they can fall into character and work with it.
The problem is it's also the challenge, I should say, is it's also familiar to the audience. You can't mess up.
Hey,
I mean, you have to be.
You don't have to worry about these kids messing up.
Yeah, they are good.
They are good. We've seen that for 2 years, and they've just been excellent.
Yeah.
Really, really professional.
And 18, 19 years old, but ready for Broadway.
Well, maybe not, but
close.
Good enough for this audience.
Yeah. It really is an impressive thing to see. And if you've never had that opportunity, it starts July 11th, and then they basically have shows the 12th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. There are certain days have 1 p.m. matinee and the 7:30 evening show, and that just runs up until July 26th. So pretty much the whole month of July at the Utah Theater. And interestingly enough, the Utah Festival Opera is selling the tickets through the Salt Lake County Arts and Culture website for that. So,
that's to try to get people to come up from the Wasatch Front,
and that's, I think, a good idea because this again is pretty impressive to see. So,
but again, they're going to be performing in the Utah Theater.
Yeah, here in Logan, July 11th to the 26th, almost the whole month. And, get out and support them, if nothing else, but you'll enjoy yourself, too. And listener asking what I mean by truncated, it's not the full 3.5 hour with an intermission Broadway production. It's I think, if I remember right, it was under 2 hours.
I can't remember. I cannot, for the life of me, I've sat through this thing 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out where they cut it.
No, that's the thing. I've had a hard time actually myself trying to figure out, okay, what's missing here, and then I get so caught up in their talent on stage, I forget to pay attention to that. But yeah, it's roughly, if I remember correctly, it's roughly an hour shorter than the longer Broadway play, and but I don't know what's missing because they don't. It is you're experiencing the full narrative of the story, and none of the major characters are missing. And all of your favorite songs are sung as well, including Master of the House, which was just funny both times I've seen it, to see the kids doing that one.
Claire Francis.
Yeah.
She was one of the Rebels the first time they did the show, and she came back the second year, and she was cast as the innkeeper, Thénardier.
Yeah.
And hit it out of the park.
She was having so much fun. And we all were, too, in the audience. But, so Les Miserables, the school edition, with the cream of the crop of Utah's young acting class, from high schools all around the state. It hits the Utah Theater July 11th and runs until July 26th, and that's the other thing that the Utah Festival is up to this summer. And stick around. There's a lot more to talk about here on the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill, and we'll get right back to it after this look at the news with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A earthquake shook parts of Wasatch and Weber County early this morning, sending a 3.7 shudder through the surrounding area that was felt throughout central Utah and beyond. Now, according to the University of Utah seismograph stations, the quake originated about 7 miles below the surface of Strawberry Peak, just northwest of Strawberry Reservoir. Now, so far, there's currently not been any reports of damage or injuries from that early morning earthquake. In other news, the Utah Highway Patrol has identified the 77-year-old woman who died in Tuesday's wrong-way crash along I-15 in Tremonton. The accident was reported about 11:44 a.m. on April 29th, just north of milepost 377. Now, the Utah Highway Patrol reports that Janet S. Hawks was driving a gray Ford Focus southbound in the northbound lanes of I-15. Now, a white Toyota 4Runner was northbound and struck the Ford Focus head-on. Both vehicles struck the median and the 4Runner rolled onto its side, according to troopers. Now, Hawks, who's from Tremonton, was not wearing a seatbelt and died at the scene, while the driver of the 4Runner was wearing a seatbelt and was taken to the hospital with critical injuries that were not expected to be life-threatening. Now, a witness had told troopers that he thought he may have seen the Ford Focus make a U-turn and go southbound from the northbound on-ramp immediately before the collision, but investigators are still trying to determine why the driver was traveling the wrong way. And a 77-year-old woman is in critical condition after being hit by a car in Roy. Now, she was reportedly walking around 3 o'clock on a road that was not marked with any crosswalks just west of the Ogden Airport yesterday. Now, officers with the Roy Police Department are looking for the suspect who may have hit the woman and then left. The woman was transported to an area hospital and as of last night was still in stable condition. Now, a neighbor who lives next to where the crash happened said the speed limit had just been increased to 30 miles an hour. Now, police said that they are continuing to investigate the accident. Well, sunny skies going to continue through the rest of the afternoon as we've enjoyed temperatures today into the mid-60s, and tomorrow and Saturday is going to be even better. With tonight, temperatures down to around 41, remaining clear into tomorrow as temperatures Friday will be around 73, and then mid-70s coming on Saturday. It's the second half of the weekend when another storm comes in, and that's going to bring showers that will likely carry into next week. And for 10 years now, Roof Rescue has been providing watertight peace of mind, whether you have minor repairs or a complete roof replacement that needs to be done. Remember Roof Rescue. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News Update. Another check of headlines coming up right after ABC News at the top of the hour.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After a manhunt in South Carolina, police say they have a suspect in custody, wanted for fleeing the scene after ramming his car into pedestrians outside a preschool on Sullivan's Island. Authorities say they located the suspect, identified as Justin Colin Adams, hiding in a boat, and say 3 people were injured, including children. They're expected to be okay. Mike Waltz leaving as National Security Advisor, President Trump announced today, but he's also being tapped for a new role. It follows the Signal app controversy. ABC's Selena Wang has more.
He is staying in the administration. Michael Waltz is, but no longer as National Security Advisor. He's going to become the ambassador to the UN. This is a big shift for Michael Waltz, and he is reacting, posting on Twitter, quote, "I'm deeply honored to continue my service to President Trump and our great nation."
State Secretary Marco Rubio will add the NSA to his role. Another round of storms ramping up today in Killeen, Texas, north of Austin. Residents under tornado warnings. This is ABC News.
Do you have a nasty weed problem? We have the right person for you. Sir, you work for Logan Extermination, don't you? Can you help these folks get rid of pesky dandelions?
Of course I can help. I am the Terminator. I will terminate those little yellow devils in your yard. Call me at Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Terminate your weeds and green up your lawn for only $45, based on maximum 5,000 square feet.
This is Tron Arnold of Edward Jones bringing you the Daily Financial Market Report for May 1st, 2025.
NASDAQ leads stocks higher to start the month. Equity markets closed higher on Thursday following Magnificent Seven companies Microsoft and Meta reporting first quarter results after market close yesterday that exceeded forecasts for both earnings and revenue. Technology and communication stocks posted the largest gains, while healthcare and consumer staple stocks were laggards. Apple and Amazon are set apart to report earnings after close today. Bond yields rose with the 10-year Treasury yield at 4.21%. In international markets, Asia was mostly higher as the Bank of Japan held its policy interest rate steady at 0.5% as expected, while Europe was little changed. The U.S. dollar advanced against major international currencies. In commodity markets, WTI oil was up as the U.S. imposed new sanctions on crude from Iran. With the markets closing higher, the Dow was up 84 points, closing at 40,753. The NASDAQ was up 264 points at 17,711. And the S&P 500 was up 35 points at 5,604. Bond market 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 4.21%, which was 0.06 percentage points higher. In stocks of local interest, Autoliv was up 4 cents, closing at 93.27. Chevron was up 20 cents at 136.26. Home Depot was down $2.19 at 358.30. Kroger was down 3 cents at 72.18. Nucor was up 35 cents at 119.72. Walmart was up 16 cents at 97.41, and Meta was up $23.21 at 572.21. In commodity markets, the spot price of gold was up 80 cents, closing at $59.01 a barrel, and the spot price of gold was down $79.60, closing at $3,239.50. This has been today's financial market report brought to you by Edward Jones and Tron Arnold, a member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 135 North Main in Logan. If you want more information, feel free to give us a call at 435-753-2915.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Warmer temperatures have both weeds and grass competing for space in your yard. Dandelions, thistle, clover, morning glory will all be kept under better control when you have us applying pre-emergence and weed control. At the same time, we can feed your grass to make sure it wins the battle and keep it lush and growing all season long. Regular visits from the lawn doctor will help your lawn be healthier and pest-free.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, at 753-LAWN. Follow them on Facebook or go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
Welcome back to KVN News For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill joining us here in the studio. And I can already tell we're going to have a hard time keeping up with the calendar each week. Charlie, this is...
Yeah. If you think it's hard to talk about it, try chasing it.
I can imagine trying to make sure. Yeah, you have to. Charlie has to sit down and build a spreadsheet for each month to make sure he gets to everything. Yeah, that is. I was kind of making my own little schedule here to keep track of what's coming, so we don't miss anything. But I'm running across stuff as I'm building it, and I just ran across. I'm like, oh yeah, they're doing the Silent Film Festival at the Utah Theater as well, and we'll talk about that on another day. That's not coming up until June 10th. But
hey, don't forget, Pickleville starts in May.
Yeah,
too.
that's the other thing. You've got 2 Pickleville shows you have to get to, and
Hunky Dory starts. That's their melodrama, and this time out, they're talking about it being a parody. I'm not sure what it's a parody of, but
yeah,
it'll be funny.
They always are.
It's a musical melodrama, and that kicks off on Friday, May 23rd, and runs probably to Labor Day.
Yeah.
And they're also going to be doing, of course, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which kicks off on Tuesday, June 17th.
Okay, and if they stick with tradition, Joseph will run a little bit beyond, or a little bit less. Sorry,
yeah.
The melodrama, the original show always runs a little longer.
Yeah,
into the summer.
Joseph will die out pardon me, will end sometime in August, usually. That's what happens.
That is, Trouble in Hunky Dory. And I don't really know a thing about this other than...
No, you can't know a thing about it because they keep it a secret.
Yeah. The only thing they're really saying is that there's a mustache-twirling villain.
Okay.
And
wow, what a surprise.
That's right. And a lovesick hero. That's pretty much all they've said. Yeah. And I love this. They said you will laugh until your cheeks hurt, but they don't specify which set. This is interesting. Pickleville's never done this before, but they've started rating their shows this summer. And they're rating this PG because there are firearms used in the production.
Come on.
Yeah, I didn't know we were doing that anymore.
Well, you've seen the movies on cable where this is rated R because there's cigarette smoking.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my
they
God.
show cigarret smoking and
think of Humphrey Bogart if he doesn't have a cigarette hanging out of his lip.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
It's nothing.
You'd have to rate all of those movies R, and there's nothing R about them. But yeah, it's. I still remember when they went back and edited the Bugs Bunny cartoons. And I grew up watching those, and I'm fine. I am not prone to violence. I'm the opposite. And I saw Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny shoot each other so many times, and now they've scrubbed those. Yeah, sometimes I think we need to settle down a little bit. But
without that kind of violence in your childhood, how could you grow up and work for the Army?
That's right. Honestly, I think we should ask some of these questions before we go off just willy-nilly canceling Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Well, you very seldom see them anymore.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
I don't. You can find them streaming on HBO Max, I think, is the only place you see them anymore. And I think the world would be a better place if they brought back that Saturday morning cartoon block with the old Warner Brothers cartoons. And they still work. I still laugh.
Goodness, maybe the kids would watch television instead of looking at their stupid phones.
I used to love and hate Saturday morning cartoons because it was great. In fact, I got up earlier and with more energy on Saturday mornings than I did all throughout the school week. And I'd sit there and watch them. And then I hated when the Bugs Bunny show ended. Because we had to go do yard work. Saturday was also yard work day.
Okay.
And so, anyway.
On a lighter note.
Back to the topic.
Again, here, this is something that let's look for the silver lining.
Sure.
The Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater stood down this summer. We all know the story about all that. What's the silver lining of that?
I mean, so far,
well, here it is.
Content.
It frees Stefan Espinosa and Vanessa Ballum to work with the Lyric Repertory Company.
I had not thought of that. The Stefan, it would be not busy. Or not as busy.
Both their husband and wife team, they shifted their flags from Idaho State University to Utah State this year. In the shows that are coming up for the Lyric, Stefan is playing Sherlock Holmes. He's playing Jack in The Importance of Being Earnest. And being directed by his wife, Vanessa.
Yeah.
So, that's a nice thing.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. The cast for Sherlock Holmes, you got Stefan playing Holmes, Lance Rasmussen, who's the equity actor who's been around forever, as Watson, Sidney Fulmer, who's
Sounds familiar.
Oh, she's been in everything. She's back to play Marge Larrabee. I'm not sure what that character is, but you've got Marin Robinson as one of the understudies. In Darling, I'm Home, you've got Sidney Fulmer, Lance Rasmussen, Ariana Walcott, and Leslie Brott is going to be performing in this. You saw her. She was the mother last year in Hay Fever.
Yeah.
Recently,
Really funny.
Yeah, terrific. Recently, she's been performing in a version of The Tempest in Cleveland, I think, and she's playing a female version of the character of Prospero. They're calling Prospera.
That's interesting.
So they're putting up the gender twist on that show. So
that's interesting.
And Mia Gaithram will also be in the cast of Home, I'm Darling.
That's a fun twist on that Prospera.
Yeah, and she's apparently done it before previously.
Really?
And I've seen reviews of that show, and she's not killing them.
I can see that being a fun role for her to be in.
Yeah,
that's very cool. This is so that's the first one, or is that the second one for the lyric? I've already forgotten the timeline.
Okay, the lyric kicks off with Bright Star.
Okay.
Then Sherlock Holmes opens a week later. Darling, I'm Home opens a week after that.
Yeah.
And then The Importance of Being Earnest is the last show.
The final show.
This is the one directed by Vanessa Ballin. Okay. Stefan Espinosa's in the cast. Marin Robinson's in the cast. Mia Gaithram is in the cast. Leslie Broad is in the cast. Tamara Dunbar is in the cast. Jonah Newton is in the cast. This is going to be a great show.
That's interesting. That is very cool. Quite a lineup from the Lyric Repertory Company, and you can honestly make time for all of these, but you'll be pretty busy through June and July, especially if you're going to work in the Silent Film Festival, Pickleville, and there's more too. Stick around. You're listening to the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio, and more to come right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Hola, Cache Valley. Get ready to spice up your weekend at Cache Valley's annual Cinco de Mayo celebration. This year, it's Saturday, May 3rd from noon until 8 p.m. at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Come experience the rhythm of live mariachi bands, the colorful twirls of traditional Mexican folk dancers, and the melody of talented singers that will light up the stage. Craving authentic flavors? Delight in mouth-watering dishes from local favorites, plus incredible Mexican treats. This year's Cinco de Mayo celebration is presented by Members First Credit Union. Large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the service you deserve. Presto Products, now hiring. Apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. And Didi Auto and Salvage. Didi Auto Salvage gives you the most money for your old metal. Bring the whole family. You'll find bounce houses, climbing walls, a mechanical bull, and traditional Mexican piñatas. Admission is free and everyone is welcome. Cache Valley's Cinco de Mayo celebration, Saturday, May 3rd from noon until 8 to the Cache County Fairground.
Your landscape should be a place to relax, entertain, and spend family time. Canyon Landscaping designs and installs livable landscapes that define space in new or existing yards. Hardscapes with retaining walls, paver and stone patios, and walkways. Each create privacy, interest, and purpose. Plus fire pits and sitting walls to add value to any yard. Go to canyonlandscaping.com for more details. Then call to schedule your free consultation. Call 752-3838 or go to canyonlandscaping.com. Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. my hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful they saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour. Charlie Schill here in the studio with us, and we've covered a lot of ground, but are we forgetting anything that's urgent and upon us? I'm sure we are. There's a lot of stuff.
One of the we've talked about the main stage productions that the Lyric is going to be doing this summer.
Yeah.
What we've kind of glanced over is the Vasco Call Spotlight concerts, which in recent years have evolved into a talk show format that they use they turn into a podcast. And each one honors a donor or a contributor or something to the performing arts program up there. And this year, they're only going to do one spotlight concert, and it's going to honor our girl, Wendy Hassan.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, a deserved honor, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For listeners, we've talked with Wendy many times here in the studio on this hour of radio, but it really can't be overstated, her footprint, her impact on arts and entertainment in Cache Valley. And this has been her career for a long time, and she's really good at it.
I think Wendy and Julie Hollis have got so much impact on what goes on in the realm of theater, in the realm of events. It can't, you just can't. You can't say enough about either of them.
No. And a lot of what they do goes, I mean, I know once in a while you get to see Wendy step up on the stage and introduce a show or introduce something, and she, I don't think she likes it when she has to do that.
Oh, she is so good at
but
it.
She's really good at it.
When she first started doing this, and I don't remember when it was, but it was a couple of years ago, and she'd get up there with a piece of paper in her hand, and she'd kind of, rub her neck with the crowd and
read from the paper briskly.
Read from the paper. She gets up there now, and she's got it all memorized. Boom.
Yeah.
Here's our donors.
Yeah. She is really good. Mentions every sponsor.
Really good.
Yeah, but a lot of what she does is just kind of behind the scenes and taken for granted, literally behind the scenes and taken for granted. And
wait till you see the lineup of the touring season that she's got set up.
And
you're going to be blown away. She is doing it in spades.
That is, I remember when she was here in the studio with us a month or so ago, I remember I talked about how, now I'm forgetting the name of the play. Good Lord. It's a musical. It's got some race themes. It's never come to Cache Valley before. It was here for 2 nights last year. Why am I spacing on this? They drive a little car down the road.
Ragtime.
Ragtime. Okay, thank you, Charlie. My brain is just, this week, I don't know.
I was just trying to figure out where you were going with it.
I remember talking with Wendy, and I mentioned how much fun I had with Ragtime that I had to go back again. And she said, if you like that, wait until you see this upcoming touring season. And then she covered her mouth. And she said, I can say no more.
Well, and Ragtime, we've seen it performed by the Festival Opera, and we've seen it performed by Music Theater West. That wasn't even a touring show.
No, that was homegrown.
That was homegrown, and it was marvelous.
It was just amazing. And, and for Wendy to invite them and give them the space to do that, I just, it's a great example of the risks she can take and how they pay off.
And also it's an example of, you needed black actors to perform that show.
Yeah, the costs were probably higher with that one, right?
And the
hiring from out of state.
They had to reach out to find the best talent in Utah to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
And it was marvelous.
It was really, really good. And yeah, she told me that I was going to be even more impressed with the selection for this touring season.
I think she does not speak with forked tongue. I think I'm knocked out by what she's got lined up.
That is. Has she set a date on the announcement yet?
Next week.
That's
here,
right. On this show, right?
On this show.
Well, I can remember if it was
afterwards. I'm no longer sworn to silence.
After that, you can talk about it. That is, it's an honor to get to announce the touring season for the Eccles because it's
so impactful. Yeah.
Yeah. And it brings so much attention to all of these other productions and theater companies, especially in a year that the Festival Opera won't be here to do that, at least in the large footprint they usually do. It's just, it's hard not having the Festival Opera as part of the summer lineup, but at the same time, you're really seeing how, at least temporarily, there is plenty of energy out there to fill the space.
So tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. With a big announcement from Wendy Hassan, the touring season for the Eccles Theater. 12 months of excitement, literally. That's next week on the For the People Theater Hour. That's our time for this week. Thanks to Charlie Schill for stopping by.